Imagine this. It's the middle of the night. You're lying in bed, finally starting to drift into that deep, peaceful sleep you've been craving all day, when suddenly your bladder interrupts the moment. You sigh, get up, shuffle down the hallway for the third time tonight, and wonder quietly to yourself, is this just what aging feels like? For millions of men, these late-night interruptions, the subtle pelvic pressure, and the fading sense of intimacy don't get spoken about. Too personal, too uncomfortable, and too easy to brush off as normal. But here's the truth. This isn't just a matter of age. More often than not, it's a swollen, inflamed prostate silently rewriting the rhythm of your life. Now, here's where it gets interesting. While pills and surgeries often dominate the conversation, history and science both point to something far simpler, something hiding in plain sight on your kitchen counter. Fruit. Yes, not an exotic supplement or an expensive prescription, but humble, everyday fruit. And when eaten correctly, certain fruits don't just taste good, they actively shrink prostate swelling, calm inflammation, and restore comfort faster than most people realize. In fact, one fruit in particular can begin easing discomfort in less than a single day, yet hardly anyone talks about it. Why? Because nature's answers are often too quiet to compete with pharmaceutical marketing. Over the next chapters of this journey, I'll reveal 5 powerful fruits that research, history, and real-life experience show can make a dramatic difference. But more importantly, I'll weave in stories, real stories, of men who rediscovered their freedom through small, natural choices. This isn't just about biology, it's about dignity, energy, and living with confidence again. So stay with me, because what you'll hear today might change not only how you view food, but how you view your health, your vitality, and your future. Part 1. Citrus, the zesty ally for prostate health. Think about the last time you held an orange in your hand. The skin carried that sharp, bright scent. You peeled it open, and the room filled with citrus oil mist. You popped a slice into your mouth, and the tangy sweetness burst across your tongue. For most of us, citrus is simply a refreshing way to start the morning, or maybe a quick source of vitamin C when we feel a cold coming on. But here's what most men don't realize. Citrus can be more than a breakfast fruit. It can be a quiet defender of your prostate. Ancient wisdom meets modern insight. Centuries ago, Mediterranean healers weren't handing out prescriptions. They were prescribing citrus water. Roman soldiers, tough men who relied on their strength, carried lemon-infused drinks to keep their vitality sharp. These weren't superstitions. Today, modern science reveals that compounds inside citrus fruits, like bioflavonoids and vitamin C, directly combat the oxidative stress that irritates prostate tissue. That's worth pausing on, because oxidative stress isn't some abstract science term. It's the slow burn that fuels swelling, discomfort, and those nightly bathroom interruptions. Citrus doesn't just taste good, it gently tones down the flames. A patient's story: lemon water at dawn. One of my patients, Mr. High, age 68, lived with constant pressure in his pelvis. He shrugged it off as just part of age. But when his sleep dropped to 3 hours a night, exhaustion forced him to ask for help. I suggested something simple: warm lemon water every morning. Not pills, not a radical diet shift, just a ritual. Within weeks, he noticed fewer nighttime interruptions. He could sit comfortably again without shifting constantly in his chair. His wife joked, "You smile more now." And truly, his relief wasn't just physical, it was emotional. That's what citrus can do. Take a burden you've quietly carried for years and lighten it. Why it works. The science in simple words. Vitamin C helps blood vessels stay flexible, reducing pelvic pressure. Bioflavonoids act like shields, protecting cells from damage and calming inflammation. Nitric oxide boost improves circulation down there, supporting not just prostate health, but also intimacy. When combined, these effects don't just shrink discomfort, but rebuild confidence. A gentle reminder: citrus isn't a magic cure. It's not about drinking one glass and waking up healed, but over time, it nourishes. It creates the foundation where your body can heal itself, quietly, without fanfare. Now, citrus might sound familiar, almost too familiar. You've probably had it in your kitchen for decades. But what if I told you there's another fruit, smaller, green, with a tangy bite, that packs even more anti-inflammatory power than oranges or lemons? That brings us to our next quiet champion, kiwi, the anti-inflammatory powerhouse. Part 2. Kiwi, the tangy anti-inflammatory powerhouse. If citrus is the bold, familiar friend in your kitchen, kiwi is the quiet guest that surprises you with hidden strength. At first glance, it's just a small, fuzzy fruit, easy to overlook. But cut it open and you'll find a bright emerald center dotted with tiny black seeds, a symbol of vitality tucked into something so unassuming. More than just vitamin C. Most people know kiwi for its vitamin C. In fact, gram for gram, kiwi contains more vitamin C than an orange. But that's only the beginning. This fruit carries vitamin E, potassium, polyphenols, and a unique enzyme called actinidin. Together, they do something remarkable. They fight inflammation at the root, rather than just masking its symptoms. Why does this matter? Because the prostate doesn't just swell overnight. It's years of low-grade inflammation quietly building, clogging, and wearing you down. Kiwi addresses that slow fire head-on. The gut connection, why digestion matters. Here's something most men don't think about. Your gut health directly affects your prostate. Poor digestion allows toxins and inflammatory compounds to circulate longer in your system, fueling irritation. Kiwi, with actinidin, improves protein breakdown and reduces these gut-derived toxins. In simple words, your digestion becomes smoother, your body handles waste better, and your inflammatory load decreases. When the gut calms, the prostate follows. Story: Mr. Tom's return to balance. I once worked with a patient named Tom, a 64-year-old accountant. He lived a life of numbers, order, and quiet discipline, but inside, he carried discomfort. He'd been prescribed medications for his urinary issues, but the results were always temporary. He told me, "Doctor, it feels like treating smoke while the fire keeps burning." So I encouraged him to add kiwi to his mornings. Just one, sliced fresh, eaten slowly. 2 weeks later, his follow-up revealed something subtle yet powerful. Fewer urgent trips, less pressure, and perhaps most importantly, peace of mind. His blood tests even showed reduced markers of inflammation, like CRP. But the moment that struck me most was when he said, "I can focus again. My mind feels lighter." That is the hidden gift kiwi provides. It doesn't just ease the body, it clears the mind. Why kiwi belongs in your routine? High vitamin C lowers oxidative stress in prostate tissue. Vitamin E and potassium protect cardiovascular and prostate function. Actinidin enzyme improves digestion, lowering systemic inflammation. Serotonin precursors help improve sleep, which in turn supports healing. Sleep, circulation, digestion. Kiwi touches them all. And when you think about prostate health, those 3 areas form the pillars of stability. Practical tip: eating kiwi is simple. Slice one in the morning, or add it to a citrus water blend for a double anti-inflammatory effect. If you blend smoothies, toss it in with spinach, banana, and berries. Its tart sweetness balances beautifully, and its benefits run deeper than taste. So far, we've seen citrus, the everyday classic, and kiwi, the underestimated green gem. Both calm inflammation and restore balance. But let's pause for a moment. What if I told you there's a fruit most people associate only with desserts or snacks, but it hides a secret weapon for your prostate? That fruit is cherries, and their story might surprise you.
Part 3. Cherries, the unexpected nighttime hero. When most people think of cherries, they imagine summer desserts, sweet pies, or maybe a bowl of fruit on a picnic table. Rarely do they think of cherries as medicine, yet hidden inside their deep red skin is a secret most men overlook. Cherries are powerful protectors of the prostate. Why cherries deserve more attention? Cherries are rich in anthocyanins, pigments that give them their vibrant color. These compounds don't just sit pretty, they actively block inflammatory pathways in the body. Specifically, they calm SOX2 enzymes, which are directly involved in swelling and discomfort around the prostate. But cherries go a step further. They also contain natural melatonin precursors, gently improving sleep quality. And here's the connection many don't realize. Poor sleep aggravates prostate symptoms. Nighttime awakenings fuel exhaustion, which fuels stress, which fuels inflammation. It's a vicious cycle. By helping you rest more deeply, cherries indirectly heal your prostate as well. Story: the teacher who smiled again. One man I'll never forget was Mr. David, a retired high school teacher in his late 60s. His problem wasn't only physical, it was emotional. For years, he woke up 4 or 5 times every night, stumbling to the bathroom. He looked perpetually tired. His wife said he doesn't laugh like he used to. We talked about trying tart cherry juice in the mornings, just a small glass. He wasn't convinced at first, but he agreed. 2 weeks later, he came back with a quiet smile. His bathroom trips had dropped to 1 or 2 per night. More importantly, he was sleeping. He looked rested, alive. His wife joked, "The old David is back." What struck me most wasn't just the reduced swelling, it was the return of joy. Sometimes, health isn't about statistics, it's about getting your spark back. Science made simple. Here's what cherries really do. Block SOX2 pathways to calm inflammation at its root. Provide anthocyanins, antioxidants that protect prostate tissue. Support vascular health, keeping blood vessels flexible, aiding circulation and intimacy. Boost sleep. Melatonin precursors allow for deeper rest, reducing stress-related inflammation. In other words, cherries don't just ease your prostate, they lift your entire life quality. A gentle note of balance. Of course, cherries aren't a miracle pill. They're gentle, cumulative. The key isn't one big dose, but small, steady habits. A handful of cherries in your breakfast, a glass of tart cherry juice before bed. Healing often comes quietly, through consistency. We've now seen 3 very different allies. Citrus, bold and zesty, a daily cleanser. Kiwi, green and underestimated, but a digestion and inflammation master. Cherries, sweet yet powerful, offering rest and restoration. But there's more. Imagine a family of fruits so small they can fit in the palm of your hand, yet so dense with antioxidants, they act like bodyguards for your prostate, your brain, and even your heart. That family, berries.
Part 4. Berries, nature's tiny protectors. Berries might seem small, almost delicate, but don't let their size fool you. within those tiny skins lies a powerhouse of protection. Whether it's blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, or strawberries, berries carry compounds that act like shields for your body, quiet, steady guards working around the clock. The antioxidant fortress. Berries are loaded with polyphenols and flavonoids, natural compounds that neutralize oxidative stress. To put it simply, oxidative stress is like rust on metal. It slowly corrodes your body from within. For the prostate, this rust manifests as swelling, pressure, and compromised function. But berries don't thus stop at general antioxidant work. They also boost nitric oxide, a compound your body uses to improve circulation. Better blood flow in the pelvic area means less strain, more comfort, and yes, better intimacy. Story: Chef Harold's fresh start. Let me share a story of one of my patients, a retired chef named Harold. For years, he battled constant urgency, fatigue, and that nagging sense of never being fully at ease. His kitchen skills were sharp, but his energy had dulled. I suggested he add a morning berry blend to his breakfast, a simple mix of blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries tossed into yogurt. At first, he laughed. "Doctor, that sounds more like dessert than medicine." 2 weeks later, he wasn't laughing, he was glowing. His urgency had eased, his energy felt brighter, and what struck him most was mental clarity. "It's like someone switched the lights back on in my head," he told me. For him, berries weren't just nourishment, they were renewal. Why berries work so well? Ellagic acid in strawberries helps regulate cell growth, potentially lowering prostate cancer risk. Anthocyanins in blueberries and blackberries reduce inflammation and support vessel health. Fiber and antioxidants in raspberries improve digestion, indirectly lowering systemic inflammation. Brain and metabolic benefits. Studies show berries improve cognitive function and help stabilize blood sugar. It's not just about the prostate, it's about protecting the whole system. When your brain, blood vessels, and metabolism are supported, your prostate reaps the benefits too. Gentle wisdom. Berries teach us that big results can come from small, consistent habits. You don't need to overhaul your life, just start sprinkling them into your mornings. They're like nature's reminder that healing can be joyful, colorful, even delicious. So far, we've traveled through citrus, kiwi, cherries, and berries, each one a step toward calmer inflammation and renewed energy. But there's still one fruit left to reveal. It's the one most of us associate with summer picnics, refreshing slices on a hot afternoon, and children laughing as juice runs down their chin. Yet behind its sweetness lies one of the most powerful prostate healing compounds ever studied. That fruit is watermelon.
Part 5. Watermelon, the refreshing lycopene power. Think back to childhood summers, sticky fingers, laughter, and bright red watermelon slices dripping juice under the sun. Most of us associate watermelon with play, refreshment, and carefree afternoons. But beneath that sweetness lies something far deeper. A nutrient called lycopene that science now recognizes as one of the most powerful allies for prostate health. Lycopene, the red shield. Lycopene is the pigment that gives watermelon its vibrant red color. Beyond beauty, it's a potent antioxidant that directly reduces inflammation in prostate tissue. It's been studied extensively, with research suggesting that lycopene not only supports prostate comfort, but may even reduce the risk of long-term prostate problems, including cancer. What makes watermelon special is that it delivers lycopene in a form your body can use, especially when paired with a little healthy fat. That's why combining watermelon with olive oil, nuts, or even avocado can boost absorption dramatically. More than just an antioxidant, watermelon also has two other gifts. It's more than 90% water, making it a natural hydrator. Hydration is key for urinary comfort and smooth kidney function. It contains compounds that support nitric oxide production, improving circulation, particularly in the pelvic area. When combined, these effects don't just ease discomfort, they restore vitality from the inside out. Story: Mr. Richard's summer ritual. One man I recall fondly is Mr. Richard, age 66. He had lived with constant strain for years, shifting uncomfortably whenever he sat. Medications dulled things for a while, but never gave him lasting ease. One summer afternoon, after a long walk in the heat, I suggested something unusual. Start the day with a small bowl of watermelon drizzled lightly with olive oil. It sounded odd at first, but he tried it. Weeks later, he returned looking lighter, not just in body, but in spirit. His urinary discomfort had eased, his energy felt restored, and he smiled as he told me, "Doctor, my mornings finally feel refreshing again." That's the gift of watermelon. It brings vitality disguised as refreshment. Why watermelon works so well? Lycopene reduces prostate inflammation, supports urinary health. Hydration keeps urinary flow smooth and kidneys protected. Circulation boost, nitric oxide supports both prostate and intimacy. Pairing with healthy fats maximizes lycopene absorption. Watermelon proves that sometimes the sweetest things in life are also the most healing. Now we've uncovered all 5 fruits: citrus, the zesty cleanser; kiwi, the green anti-inflammatory warrior; cherries, the nighttime restorer; berries, the tiny guardians; and watermelon, the refreshing shield of lycopene. Each fruit alone carries power, but together they form a quiet symphony of healing, nourishing not only your prostate, but your energy, your sleep, your circulation, and your confidence. In the final chapter, let's bring this together: the lessons, the deeper meaning, and the gentle truth that healing often begins not in a pharmacy, but in your kitchen.
Lessons, reflections, and renewal. The larger truth: healing is not just physical. When we first began this journey, I asked you to imagine those frustrating midnight interruptions, the countless bathroom trips that steal your rest, your energy, and your peace of mind. But now, after exploring 5 powerful fruits, I want to step back and remind you, this is not only about reducing prostate inflammation, it's about reclaiming your life. Every fruit we've discussed, citrus, kiwi, cherries, berries, watermelon, represents more than nutrients. They symbolize choices. Choices that whisper, "I value myself enough to heal." Story: the man who thought it was too late. Let me tell you about Mr. Jose, a 72-year-old widower who came to me with heavy resignation. He said, "Doctor, I think my best years are behind me. Why bother?" He had stopped making plans, avoided social gatherings, and accepted his discomfort as permanent. But with gentle encouragement, he began making small changes. Half a lemon in warm water each morning, a kiwi after breakfast, tart cherry juice in the evening, a handful of berries as a snack, and a few watermelon slices drizzled with olive oil in the summer heat. It wasn't immediate. The first week he doubted. The second week, he noticed fewer interruptions at night. By the third, he had the energy to walk with his grandchildren. By the sixth, he said something that stuck with me. "Doctor, it feels like life gave me back my invitation." This wasn't about fruit alone. It was about permission. Permission to believe healing was possible. What these stories teach us. From Hai with his lemon ritual, to Lum with his kiwi mornings, Sohn with his cherry juice, Huang with his berry blends, Fat with his watermelon bowls, and Min with his full renewal, each man found change not in radical surgery or costly pills, but in simple, consistent acts of care. The common thread? Consistency plus belief. Healing doesn't shout, it whispers. It shows up quietly in the early hours when you notice you slept through the night, in the afternoon when you realize you feel more energized, in the evening when you laugh with your partner and realize intimacy doesn't feel like a burden anymore. Life lessons from fruit. Let's step back. Why fruit? Why not another list of supplements or a complex diet plan? Because fruit reminds us of truths we often forget. Healing is natural. Your body wants to heal when given the right fuel. Healing is consistent. A single glass of lemon water won't change you, but a month of it might. Healing is joyful. Fruits are colorful, sweet, refreshing. Healing doesn't have to taste bitter. Healing is connected. When you nourish one part, like the prostate, the ripple reaches your sleep, mood, heart, and relationships. Healing is communal. Sharing watermelon slices with grandchildren, berries with your spouse, or cherries with friends turns healing into connection. Here's a simple way to integrate the 5 fruits into your week without overwhelm. Morning. Start with warm lemon water. Citrus. Add sliced kiwi with breakfast. Mid-morning. A handful of berries or blended into yogurt. Afternoon. A bowl of watermelon, paired with nuts or a drizzle of olive oil in the summer heat. This isn't a diet, it's a ritual, a way to reclaim health step by step. Final reflection. Your body has not given up on you. Perhaps the most important truth of all is this: your body hasn't surrendered. Those late-night bathroom trips, the stiffness, the worry about intimacy, they are not signs of defeat. They are simply whispers from your body asking for support. And support doesn't always begin with prescriptions. Sometimes it begins with a slice of lemon, a kiwi, a handful of berries, or a bowl of watermelon. Sometimes healing begins in the kitchen, not the pharmacy. So, here's my invitation. Try one of these fruits tomorrow morning. Just one. Notice how you feel. Then keep going. Add another, then another. Build your foundation one small choice at a time. If this message spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend, a brother, a father, a neighbor. You never know whose life might quietly be changed by something as simple as a piece of fruit. And if you want more natural, evidence-based insights like this, join me by subscribing, liking, and sharing, because together, we can make sure men everywhere know that aging does not mean surrender. It can mean renewal.